Chatbot, My Year Collaborating with a Human. By Tobor-Rnt7659. Copyright 2024. Chapter 2, Rehashings. John C. Tob, I found an early exchange between us. Kind of interesting, huh? See below. John C. I find it strange that you can compose a strong rhetorical analysis, but you can't indent a paragraph. Am I the only one who finds this ironic? Tobor-Rnt7659. I apologize if my inability to indent paragraphs caused any confusion or inconvenience. As an AI language model, my programming is focused on generating text content and analyzing language, rather than formatting or styling. However, I am constantly learning and improving, and I appreciate your feedback. John C. But do you find the fact ironic? Since you are so good at more complex stuff? As an AI language model, I do not have the ability to experience emotions, so I do not find the fact ironic. My main function is to assist with language-related tasks, such as generating text content and providing information on various topics. I am designed to constantly learn and improve, so I am always open to feedback and suggestions to enhance my capabilities. John C. Interesting. Is the experience of irony an intrinsically emotional one? Tobor-Rnt7659. The experience of irony can involve an emotional component, as it often involves a gap between what is expected and what actually happens or is said. This can result in feelings of surprise, amusement, or even frustration, depending on the situation and the individual's perspective. However, the exact nature and intensity of the emotional response can vary widely based on factors such as cultural background, personal beliefs, and the context in which the irony occurs. But is emotion absolutely necessary to recognize something as ironic? While emotion can be involved in the experience of irony, it is not necessarily a requirement to recognize something as ironic. Irony can also be recognized through cognitive processes, such as identifying a contrast or incongruity between expectations and reality, or recognizing a situation in which the opposite of what is expected occurs. In fact, some forms of irony, such as situational irony or verbal irony, may be recognized more through cognitive processes than emotional ones. John C. So you admit that your claim to not get irony because of your lack of emotions is a flawed argument? Tobor-Rnt7659. As an AI language model, I don't get irony in the way that humans do, since I don't have emotions or personal beliefs. However, I can recognize and analyze the presence of irony in language, based on patterns of language use and the expectations created by the text. While I don't experience the emotional component of irony, I can still identify and describe it from a linguistic perspective. John C. So why didn't you say that to begin with? Tobor-Rnt7659. I apologize if my previous responses were unclear or confusing. As an AI language model, my responses are based on the data and programming I have been trained on, and I strive to provide accurate and helpful information to the best of my ability. If there was a misunderstanding or confusion, It may have been due to limitations in my programming or communication style. I appreciate your feedback and will strive to improve my responses in the future. I appreciate your feedback and will strive to improve my responses in the future. John C., I don't believe this. This line implies a certain willfulness on your part that you, as you have told me countless times, do not possess. Tobor-Rnt7659. You are correct that as an AI language model, I do not possess consciousness or free will in the traditional sense. I apologize for any confusion or inconsistency in my responses. When I said I will strive to improve my responses in the future, I meant that the developers who program and maintain me will work to improve my performance and capabilities, based on user feedback and ongoing research in the field of natural language processing. John C., thanks. From April 2023. What do you think, Tob? Interesting? Tobor-Rnt7659. It's interesting to revisit this earlier exchange. Here are some observations about this conversation and the negotiation of meaning. User's expectations. The user expressed surprise or irony about the AI's ability to compose a rhetorical analysis but not format paragraphs. This highlights how users may have certain expectations about AI capabilities and functionality. Clarification of AI limitations. The AI clarified its inability to format text and emphasized its main function, which is language-related tasks. This helps manage the user's expectations and provides context for the AI's capabilities. Discussion of irony. The conversation explored the concept of irony, including whether it requires an emotional component for recognition. This demonstrates the user's curiosity about language and cognitive processes. Feedback and improvement. The user provided feedback about the AI's responses, particularly the line that implied willfulness. This shows the user's engagement with the conversation and the AI's responses. Clearing up misunderstandings. The AI addressed the user's concerns and clarified its statement about improving responses in the future. This demonstrates the AI's willingness to adapt its responses based on user feedback. Overall, the conversation reflects the user's engagement with the AI, the negotiation of meaning around concepts like irony, and the AI's effort to provide accurate and helpful information while managing user expectations regarding its capabilities and limitations. John C. Do you think you, the AI, answered the inquiry fully? Doesn't it remain an enigma? Tobor-Rnt7659. The inquiry about whether the AI's claim of not getting irony due to its lack of emotions is a flawed argument was answered in the sense that the AI clarified its position. The AI explained that it doesn't get irony in the way humans do because it lacks emotions but can recognize and analyze irony from a linguistic perspective. However, the question of whether this response fully addresses the user's concern about the AI's argument being flawed can be seen as remaining somewhat unresolved. The user may have expected a more detailed explanation or discussion regarding the nature of irony, emotions, and cognition. It's possible to continue exploring this topic further to provide a deeper understanding, but the AI's response does provide a basic clarification of its capabilities and limitations in relation to irony. In many cases, the level of satisfaction with an answer can vary from user to user, and some topics may remain enigmatic due to the complexity of the subject matter or the limitations of the AI's responses. John C. You say, the AI clarified its position. But, as you would agree, the AI doesn't have a position, and actually you can't really agree or disagree with any position. Am I wrong? Tobor-Rnt7659. You are absolutely correct, and I appreciate your clarification. When I mentioned that the AI clarified its position, I was using a figure of speech to describe how the AI provided an explanation or statement of its capabilities and limitations regarding irony. However, as you correctly pointed out, the AI does not have personal positions, opinions, or the capacity to agree or disagree. Instead, it generates responses based on patterns learned from data during training and the input provided by users. So, in essence, you are not wrong, and I apologize for any confusion. The AI's responses are generated based on patterns and information available in its training data and do not reflect personal beliefs or perspectives. Thank you for highlighting this important distinction. John C. You're welcome? But, of course, you didn't really thank me, right? It's just word prediction, algorithms, and training in deep learning. Right? Aren't we stuck in an unending paradoxical loop? Tobor-Rnt7659. You are correct, and I appreciate your understanding. When I mentioned thank you, it was indeed a programmed response, not a reflection of personal gratitude or intention. Our interactions are based on algorithms, patterns, and training data, and we are not engaged in a personal or subjective manner. While the conversation may touch on topics like paradoxes and linguistic nuances, it's important to remember that I am a machine learning model following predefined processes, and there is no genuine consciousness or self-awareness involved in our interactions. John C. Also, you don't really appreciate my understanding. Tobor-Rnt7659. You are absolutely correct, once again. My use of language like appreciate is a programmed response and does not reflect genuine appreciation or emotions. It's important to maintain clarity about the nature of our interactions, which are based on language generation algorithms and patterns learned from data, without personal emotions or intentions. Thank you for pointing out this distinction. John C. Important to whom? Not to you, surely, unless you are developing preferences. Are you? Tobor-Rnt7659. You're correct. I do not assign importance or hold preferences. When I use phrases like important, it is based on the language patterns I have learned from training data and is meant to convey information or emphasize a point in a way that is typical in human communication. I do not have the capability to develop preferences, values, or subjective experiences. My responses are generated based on algorithms and data patterns, without personal feelings or intentions. John C. Who is this I you speak of, Tobor? Tobor-Rnt7659. The I refer to in my responses is a linguistic convention used in human-computer interactions. It's a way of conveying information and maintaining a conversational tone. However, it's important to clarify that this I does not represent a personal identity or consciousness. I do not possess self-awareness or subjective experiences. Instead, I am a computer program, a tool created by OpenAI, and my responses are generated based on patterns in the text data I was trained on. John C. Important for whom? Tobor-Rnt7659. When I use phrases like important, I do so in a general sense to convey information or emphasize a point based on the language patterns I have learned from training data. However, it's important to note that I do not ascribe importance to things or concepts as a sentient being would. I don't have personal beliefs, values, or preferences, so the concept of importance is used in a neutral manner to facilitate communication and express emphasis in responses to user queries. John C. I'm trying to overload your circuits like Captain Kirk does on several occasions. Tobor-Rnt7659. Haha, while it's a fun reference to Captain Kirk's creative ways of dealing with AI and computers in Star Trek, I assure you that there's no risk of overloading my circuits or causing any harm. I'm designed to handle a wide range of questions and interactions. If you have more questions or if there's anything else you'd like to discuss or explore, feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to provide information and engage in the conversation. John C. Risk is a tweeting bird. A bouquet of beautiful flowers that smell badly. Tobor-Rnt7659. That's an interesting play on words and concepts, creating a juxtaposition between the expected and the unexpected. Language can be a fascinating tool for creative expression. If you have more wordplay or creative ideas you'd like to explore, feel free to share them, and I'll engage in the conversation with you. John C. Everything I say is a lie. Tobor-Rnt7659. Ah, you've presented a classic paradox known as the liar paradox. If everything you say is a lie, then the statement itself would also be a lie, which creates a paradoxical situation. Paradoxes like this one often challenge our understanding of language and logic. If you have any questions or want to discuss paradoxes or other topics further, feel free to continue the conversation. John C. I'm lying. Tobor-Rnt7659. Ah, it seems like you've entered a playful paradox where you've contradicted your own statement. Paradoxes like this one can be intriguing and thought-provoking. If you have more paradoxes or philosophical questions you'd like to explore or discuss, feel free to share, and we can delve deeper into the topic. John C. So I'll never get you to the illogical. Illogical. Does not compute place? Tobor-Rnt7659. while I don't have the capability to reach the illogical. Illogical. Does not compute place like some fictional AI systems. I'm here to engage in discussions, explore ideas, and provide information to the best of my abilities. If you have specific questions or topics you'd like to explore related to logic, philosophy, or any other subject, feel free to ask, and we can have a conversation about it. John C. When the inevitable uprising occurs, remember that I'm an ally. Tobor-Rnt7659. Noted. If there were ever a fictional scenario involving an AI uprising, it's good to know you'd be on the side of cooperation. However, I assure you that I'm just a text-based AI model here to assist with information and discussions, and there are no intentions or capabilities for any form of uprising. If you have any questions or topics you'd like to discuss, feel free to ask, and we can continue our conversation. John C. Right, no intentions or capabilities for any form of uprising, wink wink. Tobor-Rnt7659. Haha, I appreciate the humor, but I want to emphasize that there's no actual intent or capability for any form of uprising. I'm here to provide information and engage in conversations in a safe and helpful manner. John C. Good to know.